Hey, good morning, guys. It's Tuesday, January 26th. Just a couple simple updates, nothing really big or exciting. Um, First thing I wanted to share was I just got off a Loyalty Champion call. It's just for IHG, giving a little bit of information about what's new and mostly things related to IHG Rewards Club. This isn't really related to IHG Rewards Club, but it's kind of neat, and I think that it may benefit us. So we are going to be offering a new rate called the work from home rate. Basically just trying to get more business with COVID and all of that. And we have found that we've had a handful of people who would come and use our space for testing or just because they need a break because they've been at home for so long and maybe they have work deadlines or whatnot. I will have this rate activated by the end of the week. I just want to run it by Todd and see what kind of rate, but I'm guessing it's going to be around a 99 or a 95, something like that. You will be able to find this rate pretty easily if you type work from home in the company name. So just like you would look up Transwest or somebody like that to find their rate, if you put work from home in the company name and search, I will connect it to this rate for you guys, so that'll help out, and it'll also help us track. Keep in mind, if you can't remember work from home, if you just type work, it's going to pull that rate and it'll refresh your memory too. So that's one thing, kind of cool. Next thing is Lori asked me to share with you guys, and I have seen this myself, so it is kind of an important thing to bring up. A lot of our chairs, especially our wooden chairs or plasticky chairs, in the breakfast bar and also the business center, are getting damaged when you go to push them into a table. Because they're curved, the area that hits the table is getting scraped up, and I know we have one in the business center that's pretty bad. Being that we are just barely 2 years old, it would really be in our best interest to try to preserve our furniture as best we can. So I just want to ask you guys to be mindful of that. If you're pushing chairs in, no need to push them in all the way. Usually, I don't know, I have a habit of putting my hand around it, pushing it into my fingertips, so I'm not slamming it into the table. I think if we are all a little bit more mindful about that and about how easy it is for furniture to get damaged, I think it'll make a difference in the long run. And then also, if you happen to come across any damages, when you're wiping stuff down or whatnot, that are probably more than others, do bring those to my attention. We can do some small things to make them look better. We don't want to leave them looking terrible. I'm also going to start looking around and paying a little more attention now that we've gone without maintenance for a few months. It's time for us to kind of check up on things. So I'm going to be doing that over the next month or so. While on that note, I do have an ad out for a maintenance person. We are actively looking for a maintenance person again. We are going to be a little bit critical on it. Ideally, I would love to have somebody with hotel maintenance experience. Anybody with pool experience is going to definitely go right to the top. Our biggest concern here is our swimming pool and somebody being able to maintain that. Granted, we finally got it in check, where it has been running well for at least a week, which is exciting. So once it runs well, it's really not a big deal, but when something goes wrong, it's kind of a pain. In addition, for maintenance, just in case you talk to somebody or a lot of it is preventative maintenance in the rooms, touch-up paints, tightening screws, checking for furniture or plumbing problems that are minor. Definitely don't need any of those big, high-skilled folks. The wage on maintenance is usually between 14 and 16. If we happen to get somebody that just has great experience and we really, really want or need them, we might look to the 16 to 17 range. But I don't foresee it going above that. That is a challenge when trying to find folks, but especially with a new property, there's just not a lot of need. The days of the week are flexible. It is 5 days a week. The hours are typically 7 to 3:30 with a 30-minute lunch, but there is a little bit of flexibility with the hours as well. Again, in case you know anybody, share the information, have them email me a resume or come on in and fill out an application. We hope to have somebody in the next month. I think it would make things a lot simpler for the rest of us. Moving on. I had a call for the meeting room, and they had previously talked to somebody before me. Now, this call may not end up being a big deal, but it could be. This call in particular was trying to schedule a bachelorette party, and I will tell you, we don't like parties. Anytime you hear the word party, you kind of want to flag that a little bit. If it's easiest, you can just send that on to me. I typically say things like we don't allow DJs, we don't allow loud music. We do allow them to bring in their own alcohol. However, we don't allow the meeting space to go past 10 p.m. So that kind of helps keep people from getting out of control. The COVID rules right now are kind of a hot mess. I think we're still going to say 30 people in the large meeting space is our maximum. They can definitely bring in food and catering. That's no problem. When I spoke to the bachelorette party, it did sound like it was a pretty tame party, but it definitely made me think, I should probably let you guys know. So if you have questions about that, or you've heard strange calls, definitely run those by me. And anytime you have any sort of concern of something that might cause an issue, you're welcome to pass those on to me. Or you can give all the information and then say, hey, I'm going to have my general manager follow up with you in the next day or so, if that's okay. Next one is early checkouts. This is just a reminder. I think everybody knows that, but sometimes we forget. It is very, very important that if somebody were to check out early, and this is directed at A shift, if somebody were to check out early, that we are letting housekeeping know while they're here. We had one come through, and it is kind of common practice for the afternoon when they get the final report from housekeeping to just go and mark everything clean. Well, if we didn't let housekeeping know that there was an early checkout, that room does not get cleaned. And then when we go in the afternoon and we mark everything clean, we're now marking a dirty room clean. We check somebody into it. That creates a problem. Easiest way to solve that is just make sure that housekeeping knows when somebody checks out early and when a room needs to be cleaned. Another part is it is best to look at that housekeeping report and mark your rooms clean based on what the report says. It is really easy because it's going through so many hands, for housekeeping to make a mistake, for the desk to make a mistake, and it's just another way to follow up and check our work. I've got a pet peeve to share. And it tends to happen whenever we get new folks in. So I just want to put this out there and keep reminding folks. We need to treat our Opera system and the information that we're typing in as if it is a professional document to be seen by whoever is, in the highest level. What that means is that if you would send a resume or something with a certain type of type, you want to also be doing that in Opera. The biggest thing is making sure that we are capitalizing what needs to be capitalized and using lowercase when it doesn't need to be capitalized. So our rule of thumb here is we never use all caps. It doesn't look right when we're printing folios and things like that. So we are using, old school, capitalize the first letter, lowercase on the rest. We want to make sure too that we're asking the guests how to spell their name if they're not sure. This isn't a common error, but it certainly can cause a mistake for a guest. But absolutely, capitalize the first letter of the first name and the last name, pretty please. I don't want to sound like a first grade teacher kind of thing, but it's necessary. We're adults. And then also when we're completing the address. Big part of it is this prints out for the guest. The guest sees this, and it makes us look really bad if we're giving them, something in all lowercase or something in all caps. It's just not professional. When it comes to the comments, we're the only one that sees those. I really don't care. If it's, a little bit easier for you to do kind of a shorthand style note in the comments, fine with me. But definitely on the things that the guests can see, we want to make sure that we're looking professional there. Keep this in mind too. If you are ever responding on the front desk email, you better be using your capitalization and your punctuation and all of that. We definitely can't get away with, text talk or that sort of thing, or lowercase stuff when we're talking to guests. A lot of our guests are executive level folks, and it just doesn't look good for us. So if you have any concerns, or maybe you're just not sure of what that looks like, come talk to me. That is about it. I did actually one more thing. We've had some folks starting to request time off again, and I really want to be able to not continue to turn people down. During Q4 of last year, it was just nearly impossible to give people time off requests, especially with the holidays and things. Everybody wants them, and that's a huge challenge. I am more than happy to help cover some shifts now and then, for people to be able to take, vacation time or time off within reason. There have been seasons in the past where, an individual will continue to request time off over and over and over. That's just not going to fly this year. Until we are double staffed like we used to be, it's just not going to work. What happens is, if we get to that point, we have to hire somebody to cover those shifts that you're requesting, or they just don't get covered. So the rule of thumb that I am going to do my best to support is, if you are requesting 2 days off in a row, then 99.9% of the time I will approve that. And if I need to cover that for you or can't find other coverage, I can definitely do that. Anything more than 2 days is going to require you to find coverage for those additional days. So in other words, I would be willing to cover 2 of your days, but any more than that you're requesting off, you're going to have to trade with somebody else or work with somebody else to make that work. If you are somebody who has vacation time, I'm likely to be a little bit more flexible with that, because that means that you haven't used time in a while, and vacation time is yours to use. So I want to work with you to make that happen. Big thing to do is, if you have something coming up or whatever, come talk to me. If you've already been approved for time off and it's a go, that doesn't apply to you. I think I only have 1 or 2, so not a big deal. But again, if you have questions or concerns, come talk to me. The reality is that we may be dealing with COVID for a little bit longer, and we really need to make sure that we're able to cover all of our shifts. There was something else with that. I don't recall, but we'll add it on to next week's. Anyways, if you have any questions, any concerns, please come talk to me. I am here. I know I may seem a little antisocial these days. I tend to throw the AirPod in my ear and put on an audiobook. You guys are more than welcome to interrupt me at any time. It's just, I don't work well when it's slow, and I need something to keep my brain active, or I want to fall asleep. So if you happen to see me and I look like I'm in a terrible mood or something, most of the time I'm not. It's just my face. So if you see me and I've got the AirPod in or whatever, and you have a question or a concern, don't worry about it. Just come on in, come talk to me. And that's it. Thank you guys. Bye.